Hi, my name is Melanie, and I am a dye instructor here at the Manitou Art Center, and I'd like to welcome you to the Dye Lab. Let's start with the table. This is a 4-yard table. It's a fabulous table. A lot of people love to use this table because it's big and they can put their classes around it and they can stretch out. So it's a very popular table. So as a solution to save the table, we put these MDF boards on top, like this. So if you're doing something non-fiber related that you don't need to pin out fabric, because this table is specifically meant to pin your fabric out. It's soft and it has plastic on it. Plastic obviously needs to be changed, but that's the purpose of this table, is to pin your fabric out. So, but because it's so popular and everybody likes to stretch out, we put these MDF boards. So if you're doing something messy and you're doing something that's non-fiber related, we ask that you work above the MDF boards. If you're doing something fiber related, you need to pin out fabric, etc., etc. Something wet, whatever, we ask you to do it on the plastic. Okay? So that is the table. And you can take these all off, and then at the end of the day, we ask you to put them back on before you leave. They're relatively easy to put back on by yourself. It's easier when you have somebody else, but you can do it by yourself. We also have some dye supplies over here. A lot of it is used for blue hands. So some of it's blue, like these clothespins. They're made specifically, this is blue because of our blue hands events that we have here, which is an indigo dyeing event. But there are some brushes and some pens and some pencils and some scissors, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that you're able to use. There's jars that you're able to use. The only thing that we do ask is if you use it, please put it back or bring it back. That's the one thing we do ask. So some of the other tools that we have in the Dye Lab, this is a spinner. This is something that you can plug in and it'll spin out your wet fabric. It's kind of fun. It's like the spin cycle on your washing machine. It's just the spin cycle. So the one thing you do have to remember, which I often forget, is to put a bowl to collect the water, not just have the water go all over the floor. So that's something to remember. We do have this called a bullet steamer. This is specifically to steam yardage. I do not give classes on this. This is usually for people who already know how to use it. I can give classes, I just haven't given classes on yardage yet, on registration and whatnot. So if you want to use this, then you need to contact me. You can contact me via email, manitoutextiles@gmail.com. But we do have it, it's available for use. This is the instructor, this is my supply. This is specifically for my classes, so I ask that the public stay out of here. Just because it's the supplies that we use for blue hands, it's the supplies that I use for my classes. I have materials fees and it comes out of here. So this is not for, this is not community, these are my personal supplies. So we have a couple other tools here. We have a blender and we have some scales here. In some of my classes, scales are necessary and blenders are necessary. So we just tend to keep it on this little, I don't know what this thing is called, but it moves around. It's this little cart thing. This is a great example. This blender is a mess. It's really a mess. And the one thing I do ask when using a community space is to clean up after yourself, please. To hopefully leave it in a state where somebody else can just come in and start working without having to clean up after the prior person's mess. So I really, really, really would appreciate if people could clean up after themselves. So now we're entering the dye kitchen area. This is where a lot of the dyes are mixed, or the water, to fill up the pots and pans and whatever. We have towels that are underneath this large cart, and we have a washing machine and dryer. So when you see a large bundle like this, we ask that you run a load of laundry. The laundry soap is located up above the washing machine. It's in that blue laundry container. We do ask that you run the load of laundry and then you put it in the dryer before you leave. Just please try and remember, and it's easy to forget because I forget at home. But it's easy to forget, but try and remember to put your towels into the dryer prior to leaving for the day. So here we have our beautiful sink. I asked that this area is the dye mixing area because it's really easy to clean up. So all dye mixing should be done in this area. I try to leave these areas clean and wiped up. Sometimes things happen in the sink and you need to clean up the sink. So try and keep the sink area sort of clean. Do not wash your stuff and then leave it here to dry and just go away. Go ahead and wash your stuff and dry it and put it back before you leave so that somebody else isn't putting away your dishes, basically. And here we have all of the tools. We've got spoons, and we've got measuring spoons and measuring cups and tongs, and we have some of the chemicals. We have plastic spoons, we have like sodium alginate, and we have the dye fixative retain. So some of the chemicals are here, but all of the other stuff, as far as mixing your stuff or mixing in the dye pots, is found here. And again, like I ask, please clean your stuff and then just put it back right away. Don't leave it here to dry. So these are the dyes that are available to the community. These were all donated to us. So they're available for the community use. The first three shelves are fiber reactive dyes, and the top two shelves are acid dyes. There's synthetic dyes. I do a beginning class on that, and I talk about the differences and why fiber reactive, why acid dyes, what the difference is, when do you use it, blah, blah, blah. So, but all of these are used by the community. This area is the Blue Hands indigo vats. This is not available to the public. You are welcome to start your own vat and store it here if you want to do indigo at the MAC. Just put your name on it. And the Blue Hands group will not use your indigo vat, but the indigo vats of the Blue Hands group is not available for public use. Okay, so here we have the cooking area. There's some great light switches here. This turns these overhead lights on right here, and you can turn them off and on here. So pretty easy. You don't always have to have them on. It just makes it brighter. We have an electric kettle. This is great for a dye lab situation because the water here takes a while to warm up, and sometimes you need to have hot water or warm water right away. So this is a great alternative as you're waiting for the water to warm up, to use this for quick hot water. We also have induction burners and hot plates. The induction burners are great because they don't burn you like a hot plate will. But they're available for use here. Our pots and pans for cooking and for immersion dyeing are underneath. Again, go ahead and clean them before you leave. We have Barkeeper's Friend, which is a great scouring. We ask that you scour before you leave, and then dry your pot off and put it back before you leave for the day. So these two are sample boards that we have. This sample board are all of the colors that are available that are open to the community. These are all the fiber reactive dye samples that we have. Unfortunately, nothing is in alphabetical order, but these are the colors that are available. This is a dye class that I offer with the dye samples. Anyways, this is a dye class that I offer. It's a very involved class. It's a whole weekend. Any of these colors I can reproduce. That's the whole point of the class, but it's a really big dye class. One thing you need to remember when you're using burners, and if you're using more than one at a time, is you cannot plug it all into the same outlet. I know that there's 4 here and it's very attractive, very tempting to plug it all into one, but you can't. You will pop a breaker. The breaker box is literally on the back of the wall underneath the photography equipment. So it's in this room, so it's easy if you do. It's not that big of a deal, but you will pop a breaker. So when I'm using the 3 induction burners at the same time, I plug them into the 3 different outlets, and that will stop it from popping the breaker. So this isn't something that I personally use, but it's something that we have. This is a heat press. I know that we got it donated to us. There was a woman out in Grand Junction. She was doing acrylics, or she was doing athletic wear with polyester, and she was heat pressing it to fix it onto the fabric. I don't know that process personally, but if you know that process and you want to use it, it's here to use. This is our dryer. So this is where the towels will go when you're done. If you open it up, if you go to put your towels in here and you open it up and there's towels in there, go ahead, take those towels out, fold them up, and put them back where the towels go. This is a community space. The only way it's going to work is if we all work together to make it work, basically. So we all need to kind of pull our weight and be able to, do this together. So a lot of this is written in these pool rules, just as a reminder, as far as like laundry and, make sure you wipe down all the surfaces. I do a lot of sweeping in here just because there's big pieces and big chunks. Like I said, everybody likes to use the table, so they'll drop big pieces of paper or whatever underneath the table. So if you're so inclined, go ahead and do a quick sweep of the room. It's many hands make light work. So let's try and clean up after ourselves and keep this place clean, so that other people can come in and just use it without having to clean up after others. But like I said, everything's written in these pool rules. So thank you for taking this little orientative video with me. If you are familiar with dyeing and you already know how to do it, please come down and use our space. That's what it's here for. Not everybody has the space for a dye kitchen. Not everybody has, the money to be able to get all of this equipment. So please, by all means, come down and use our space. That's what it's here for. I do give classes. I do beginners, and I do intermediate, and I do have advanced classes. So my classes last, some are 1 day and some are 6 weeks long, twice a week. So it depends on what, how involved you really want to get into fabric dyeing and surface design. But I do offer all those classes both in synthetic and in natural dyes. So I do some printing with natural dyes, printing on fabric with natural dyes. I do immersion dyeing with natural dyes. I do immersion dyeing with synthetic dyes. I do printing with synthetic dyes. So it's a very large gamut that I cover, and I hope if you're interested that you'll take one of my classes. Thanks for coming. My name is Melanie, and I hope you come join us down at the MAC.